careful. We've got ADHD, autism and dyspraxia all represented on the show this week, all a bit quirky. Explain to you why, in God's name, we got a message saying, I'm going to be late. I'm doing work experience as a fire brigade.
I feel like a few of the traits of professional rugby would prepare me well for dealing in the crisis. So stop laughing at me.
I think you'd be good, John.
Yeah. So he's a good bloke. He wants to support me.
Do you reckon we could come live to you from a fire?
100%.
We're going live to Jonny,
from a
mate.
fire.
Good bad rugby, live and fired.
We had some good laughs, and every time I'd ever go over the top of someone in the game, John would run up, jump into me and quack.
And like a duck. That's the noise it made. Wah.
Hello, Dream Team, and welcome to the good, the bad, and the rugby in partnership with our good friends at Continental Tyres. Now, I thought we'd biff off Generation X, and I brought in a couple of fellow millennials from my time with England, Jonny May and Ellis Genge. Gentlemen, how are you?
Are you millennial as well?
Yes, you prick. I am, actually. I am.
What's that?
What determines whether you're millennial? I thought that was 2000s.
No, that's Gen Z. What are you, 97?
5.
No, you're millennial. I reckon it's 80.
I think it's 80s to something is millennials.
Is it?
I think so.
Not all of 80s.
Listen, why are you looking at me as if I know what I'm doing? I've only been brought in here because I can communicate with you two, because Alex would alienate both of you.
True,
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to speak. Ellis, halfway through with me, I do understand what you're saying. What is he? What do you mean? Alex, I don't, just sorry, what's that word? This is, I wouldn't get it. 81 to 96.
96. We're all millennials.
We're all millennials. Thank you for answering that question.
Good work.
Firstly, Ellis, it's great to see you on our podcast. You've done everyone else's podcast. Good to have you back. Do you want to say it's nice to be back? Or
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Good. We missed you.
I missed you too.
Now you've done everything else. Is ours better than everyone else's?
You're my friends.
Fine.
There you
Excellent. I like that's what we need
Take
to know.
what you will from that.
Read between the lines. Do or do whatever you want. What have you been doing today? Explain to you why, in God's name, we got a message saying, I'm going to be late. I'm doing work experience as a fire brigade.
Yeah, so the good bad rugby have done a good job of recreating or reproducing the rugby culture of undermining and mocking anybody who's trying to upskill themselves or look to the future. Yeah. No, but I was at Bryce Norton, RAF camp this morning.
Yeah.
Emily from the RPA sorted that out for me, and the fire service is something that I might be interested in looking into. Why are you laughing, mate? Why are you so horrible, mate?
Sorry.
Why are you so fucking horrible?
I need to compose myself. Wait.
Yeah,
you went to RF Bryce Norton.
Yeah.
Where's Bryce Norton?
In Oxford.
Right.
Yeah.
You love how he says that as if you and I are meant to know, right? Got it.
Yeah.
What was your initial thing doing there then?
So I just had it's just literally a first introduction step and looking into options, because I need to start thinking about what I want to do. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not. Well,
What's so funny about it? It's a good career.
Let's be very careful. We've got ADHD, autism and dyspraxia all represented on the show this week. No, all three of us have got neurodiversity.
Yeah.
So they thought we'd bring it together. So we're a brotherhood together, all a bit quirky. Can you explain to me, you went to RAF Bryce Norton. Was the RAF part of it, or was it just that's where the fire brigade were?
No, but you have like Civvy Street fire servicemen,
right,
and RAF fire servicemen.
So you would have been RAF fireman.
It looks like that might be a better pathway for. Why are you laughing at me?
Why?
I can't bear this.
Explain to me what's the difference. What? So you were like, I'm going to be a fireman, but I want to be like a proper badass.
No,
fireman.
like basically, how do you explain it? Yeah, they're very similar. To my understanding, again, it's just like an idea I've had. You've got to start somewhere.
Right.
Stop laughing at me.
Right.
We didn't laugh at you when you said you wanted to be a DJ. Look
That's
at you
true.
now.
That's true. Look at me now.
We supported you.
People were laughing at us as a fighter, and then so that got blown up a bit. So
we all need to find things to do.
We do. I just want to know, where did the burning passion come from?
My mate said, two people said to me, "Oh, the fire service is really good. It's shift work. It's 2 days, 2 nights, 8-day week, 4 days off. Like, it's brilliant. You have a good laugh. You're with a group of guys. It's
team environment.
Yeah, and it incorporates a lot of the rugby lifestyle into a new career. So like you've got teamwork, discipline, bit of pressure, uniform stash. And I was like, do you know what? That is like quite a cool idea.
Right.
So then I was like, well, maybe we've got people at the RPA. We have people who work in the club for moving you on. So I spoke to our RPA lady at the club, Emily, and she's got me in touch with the Bryce Norton.
Fine. And she went down there.
Yep. Fired a cannon. water cannon.
You fired the water
I
cannon?
didn't do it, but I went in the fire truck.
Oh, but they let you sit on it.
Yeah,
Did they put a
We'll
helmet
let you
on?
put the lights on.
Yeah. Did he buzz the lights?
No, he didn't. There was no
Did you
emergency.
pretend to use the steering wheel?
Stop mocking me.
I'm not. Did you use the steering wheel
No,
a bit?
I didn't. I sat in the passenger seat and he showed me the cannon.
Are they automatics or
Showed
manual?
you,
Sean?
sorry, you sat in the
It's like
passenger
a
seat and he
tractor.
showed. You sat in the passenger seat and he showed you his cannon.
No,
Because
he showed me the cannon.
Oh, the cannon, right? Okay.
Is that what he calls it?
Well,
Yeah.
I've heard it a few things. Okay. And after experience, do you feel like this is something you want to go into even more?
Yeah, I want to explore it a bit further. Yeah, it could be quite cool.
Was
The
it any
reason being the RAF is good, potentially for somebody like me compared to Civvy Street, is they're very flexible. I.e., like if I'm still hoping to play for the next couple of years or year or whatever that may be, I'm not quite ready to stop playing yet.
Okay.
They could help me do bits and bobs like in off season or weeks off.
Okay.
As opposed to having to go like straight with Civvy Street Fire Service, you need to go like into an intern apprenticeship for like 2 years full time. So it sort of would help me get a bit of a foot up whilst I'm still playing,
Right.
If that makes sense, so that I don't start in 2 years like with nothing. I've got like a little bit of a.
So you've done a few small fires and stuff like that,
exactly.
yeah.
Things like that's. And again, I don't really know what I'm talking about yet because
No.
I've only started looking into it. But that's that.
Just a couple of questions. When you came on the podcast before and we asked you about your preparation for game day, you talked about a lot of voice in your head, trying not to say calm and panic. Do you really think we want you at the bottom of a ladder climbing into a fiery building with your personal demons? Is that a good plan?
Well, I could be very good at it, or I could be very bad at it. We'll just have to see
Fine.
how
So
I
risk
go.
a few lives just to test out
No,
whether Johnny's got
I
it.
won't risk lives whilst you're training. That's the point
Okay.
in training, I guess. But like I said, I feel like a few of the traits of professional rugby would prepare me well for dealing in the crisis. So stop laughing at me.
I think you'd be good, John.
Yeah.
Well,
See, he's a good bloke. He wants to support me.
Listen.
Everybody else, do you know what? People about everybody non-rugby has been like, Johnny, you've been brilliant on the podcast.
Yeah.
All my rugby mates have been like, well, when you run out of stories, they'll be done with you. And they're like,
Is that
oh,
what they said?
Who wants to hear you talk about rugby? You don't know anything
Well,
about
no, we're
rugby.
talking about firemen. Now you're a fireman. I love firemen.
It just seems like a bit of a rugby culture. We seem to slam people for.
We've not
just-
slammed anyone. We welcome everyone here. We've got
Yeah.
neurodiversity in order. We different careers. We
Yeah.
accept anybody from any walk of life. We've had actors on here. You could be our resident fireman. Did
Yeah.
you learn anything today that you can take forward? Do you feel more confident now if this table was to burst into flames?
No, I haven't. I haven't gone there yet.
Oh.
I just know what it looks like. I.e., what's my pathway
Right.
looking like, and a few introductions and contacts and.
What
starting to
bit
get my
would you
head-
like to do the most?
Well, you train as a fireman.
No, I know, but would you want to do the big hose bit? Do you want to do do you want the white helmet or the yellow helmet? Do you want to do the food?
What's the
No, you
difference
don't know.
between them?
Like,
Well, the white one's in charge, I
guess
think.
Is it?
What would be good is I'd enjoy like the routine of it. Like
Yeah.
you do your equipment checks every morning. I'd be quite good at that, quite
Right.
thorough. And then like you're prepared and ready. And then if it comes to it, you do something quite meaningful and help people.
I would never mock you. If you weren't going to play
You were
rugby-
mocking me.
I
and-
wasn't
and
mocking
the
you.
GBR team have mocked me with a
They
flipping-
laugh at anything.
with a
It's like they
snail
don't
and
get
a
out.
picture of a fire truck.
They're in this. No. It's just when you call someone up. If I went, I'm late because I've been at London Zoo helping clean out the elephants.
Yeah.
There'd be a few
Yeah, okay,
questions.
yeah.
Johnny May, in all
fair
of our
enough, that,
years,
John.
you have never once gone, Hask, I'd like to be a fireman.
Did I
It's
not
never
say
happened.
that? Because we had this on the first chat.
You have never said you want to
No,
be a fireman.
I don't think that should have been a new one. But yeah, I've been
New
thinking.
one. It's been like an hour. You've come up with this morning. You've woken up with your cereal, panicked, called the RPA, and gone fix that and be a fireman. That's how it's worked out.
It is
not
a bit
far
different,
off
John.
that, yeah.
What Ellis? We're going to come on to you because you obviously played yesterday. Unbelievable
And a
performance. A record 85
Premiership
points.
performance.
I mean, it was like beating up a load of school children, but that's fine. If you weren't a rugby player, or when you finish playing, what do you want to do?
I got my gym.
Yes.
And
What's
we're
that called, by the way? People who can
Sin,
find out about it.
SYN. Sin.
Sin. See,
Yeah.
we're always helping people, not mocking. I'm not laughing at him, are we?
Got some merch on today actually, but the
Where can they find
it's
that?
on the back of my top, so you can't actually
on,
see
show
it.
us.
Come on then, show us.
I'll
Come on.
show
Come on,
you.
show you. You want to, it's all about helping
And the
businesses.
cameras.
We don't laugh at people. Oh, like
That's
look at
why,
that.
yeah.
Good rotation, that.
Yeah, that's what I can't turn around.
Show the camera.
I can't turn around.
Right.
What do I want to do? I'm going to open a few more gyms. That's what's going to happen in the next few months before the end of the year. Hopefully, have 3.
Lovely.
Got 1 at the moment. We're basically looking to open up in Harborough. Next.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, your neck of the woods.
Got a site in Bath for at least been F45 if you want that.
Is that up for grabs? Is it?
Yeah.
Chat after the show.
Chat, yeah.
Crash and burn.
Because it was
Yeah,
going to be
not
Bristol
good.
next, but.
Well, the Bath site can work to you.
Sin, Bath be a good market for us. Anyway, Sin, hopefully take off soon. We've got a run club with that. We've got a load of merch. What else have we got? We've got training programs, so that's exciting.
All about careers after sport. You see, we're all about that Goodbye Rugby.
But no, the thing with there is method behind the madness of it. With the scheduling of 4 days on and then 4 days off to do, but maybe if I'm still existing on the podcast, I can do that. I can do a little bit here, there.
Do you reckon we could come live to you from a fire?
100%.
We're going live to Jonny, mate. Goodbye Rugby.
Not from a fire, but you could come in. You could come in when I'm trained
Johnny's
on the cannons.
Fire. Johnny's gone to fire. Johnny's on fire.
Cannon.
Johnny's crashed the fire van into the fire. I can imagine it was something like that. Johnny's crying in the fire engine.
Oh dear.
Genge, have you I mean, obviously the reason we wanted to get you two on this, you're great mates.
Live from
Not from the fire.
Johnny, you're on
I
fire.
thought you meant from the fire brigade. I said yes before. I thought you meant fire.
Johnny's on fire. Johnny's got the jaws of life around his foot. I can imagine you don't know about
that.
Oh, you don't. You see, I know more about being a fireman than you do.
Jaws of life is when
Jaws.
Jaws of
people
life.
get stuck in a car.
Yep.
They cut the what's that called? The
A-frame, whatever it is, or
whatever that is. Yeah.
The frame of the car. They grab
one,
and they take the roof off. They snip
and
it.
they cut that, and they lift them out of the seat because they can't open the doors.
Yeah, 'cause
basically,
they're crushed in.
You should know that.
I tell you what you should do.
will
Watch a
know
few
that.
episodes of Fireman Sam. Upskill yourself.
No, still.
Mate, I learned a lot from Fireman Sam.
Jaws of life.
Jaws of life. I mean, I don't know if they got the Jaws of life
Have
for
they
Fireman
got that?
Sam.
I've
They
got
got
that
Mr.
on there, bless
Spaghetti.
him.
Pardon?
It's a kids' show, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to do Jaws of Life.
Yeah, but it's still
I
fires.
knew about the Jaws of life as a child.
Yeah. I did.
I've got a lot to learn.
Yeah,
it's all
evidently.
It's first steps.
And you love
baby
learning.
steps.
Evidently. Ellis, have you seen Jonny on the previous shows because he's become a
I've
cult
seen
hero?
a few clips. Been really popular, haven't you?
Hey, I've tried.
I knew you'd be good at this, though. I said you'd be good at podcasting.
Yeah, it's gone all right. It's gone all right. I'm still here.
I think you've done brilliantly.
I know I'm a pay-as-you-go clown. As
I
it
don't think
currently
you are,
stands.
John.
No, I don't think you are, John. I think you're part of the fabric.
I think you're
you come here
interesting.
today with a real attitude.
You
about
have got a
things.
chip,
No,
John.
it's set up
John,
on the
you
back
have
foot
got a chip in your
with
shoulder.
You've got a chip on your shoulder.
with the mick taking and stuff. And
It's not mick taking.
It has
think
been a
Your
little bit
friends
of
have
that.
got into your head. Who aren't? I wouldn't say they're friends. I wouldn't. What
Just need to take a deep breath, don't I?
You're gonna get
I'm getting defensive.
You're going to get self-defensive and you're going to talk yourself into some sort of ailment, like your eyes will roll out your head or something like that, or your nose will fall off. Did you see the first episode? I've never seen a man
Yeah, I lost my
convince
voice.
himself that he was going to be unable to speak when he was perfectly
Didn't
able
you
to speak.
lose
And
your
it
voice recently? Somebody said that.
That was in Hong Kong, yeah. I've got over it.
Let's refocus quickly.
Yes.
I want like an itinerary or is it minutes before or after the meet when you talk through that? What's our schedule?
The schedule.
Let's go through what our topics are because we're going to get distracted.
Well, we're not getting distracted. So I'm going to steer the ship.
What are our main?
Well,
This
the
is
main point is
content,
for what
John.
you
This is how
guys
content
is
works.
England. We're going to talk about a bit about central contracts because
Yeah.
you boys, you're not involved in that, Jonny. We've got the Continental Tyres Quiz, which is quite exciting, and we've got some other ad reads and bits and pieces.
So
It's
central
quite light.
contracts, England.
What you boys teammates
Quiz.
chat. I mean, I wanted to ask Ellis first off. You've just
go
been
on.
on Simon Jordan's podcast, which is a big deal. That.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Have you been on that one?
I've made that one.
And that wasn't a stab.
No,
Genuine.
I
That was a
haven't.
genuine
It's not
question.
You wouldn't be
No.
allowed to go on it, would you?
I would be allowed.
I think that'd be a good debate, yourself and Simon Jordan.
You talked a lot about the class stuff on there.
Yeah, I think that was a big topic that he wanted to talk about. What did we delve into?
You're famously quoted saying that you had friends that used to work on building sites and had scaffolders who were faster than Jonny.
Yeah, you have. You challenged me on that. Does he still want to do that?
I don't. Then yeah, they're a bit older now. John.
So am I.
I don't think they've got any
We're all
interest.
older.
But when they were younger, is what I'm saying. Is I
Yeah.
do think their raw athletic capability was more impressive than yours.
Yeah, there would be.
That is a massive statement. How did you gauge that though?
Just running away from stuff.
From stuff. That well-known running away from stuff.
Yeah.
You're more of a track-based athlete. They're more of a street pavement operator.
On concrete, they've got you.
Parkour, yeah, parkour.
9 times out of 10, they've got you on the concrete.
Yeah. I imagine. Yeah.
In their terrain, over the benches.
On their terrain. I think you'd be warming up and they'd be on the jack straight out the door.
They don't need a warm up. They just brought them off.
They got fast twitch,
In-air
out of cab,
maxes.
out of a takeaway.
And they're resilient. They
and
pull
also,
hamstrings.
you'll be straight sprinter. They'd have to fill a couple of people in
Yeah.
on the way out. They're blowing up. They don't think you've got that in you.
No. I don't know what I'd do if a policeman. I don't think I'd
You
run.
just do as you're told. You'd curl up into a
I
ball.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
You work for the services now.
Yeah. You're actually part of the problem now.
I don't know what to say to that.
Okay. So what? Yeah. But, I mean, do you want to elaborate a bit on? Because I know the class things. You've been quite vocal. Obviously, you've kind of become a.
Yeah, I've only been vocal when asked. I don't necessarily campaign for it. No. I think you'd be naive to say that there isn't a disparity in class in our sport. If you look at football, I'd say 90% of this is what Simon said on his podcast. I'm not going to quote him word for word because I can't remember, but he said that there's a extremely high number of working class people who make professional football in comparison to the people who are privately educated. And he said it's usually those boys getting peppered for going to private school. Whereas when I was coming through the rank systems in rugby, it was the other way around. You'd get peppered for not going to a private school. So I think that was what started the conversation. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting.
Did you come to any conclusions? Did you kind of agree or not?
Oh yeah, I think he agreed with me. I think it's more just an interesting conversation around I think what it led to actually was speaking about talent ID and the amount of talent my friends I think were more capable athletically than you were naturally. Obviously, you've trained to be an incredible athlete, and everyone's aware of that. But
you are incredible, by the way. Don't you think
you are incredible?
Thank you, mate.
You know,
I'm fine now. I've had a
told
breath.
him a lot.
Okay.
But the opportunities that are given to people who are from I don't know whether you use the word class, but given those opportunities a lot easier than the people who are the rough diamonds in the rough, for example. So I think that was what it led to. So talent ID in rugby, I'd say, is probably skewed a bit because you don't necessarily always see the people who are from the areas that I'm from. Whereas in the footballing world, that's where they go. That's literally their first port of call. Hence why they're signing people at 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? So I think that was where the conversation went off the top of my head.
Oh no, we've got so much to cover with both of you. I was going to actually ask, because that class thing is quite interesting, is that you first came on the scene, you're very honest, maybe call people sausages, whatever, divided opinion. You weren't the usual poster boy for rugby, I think. And I told you at the time, when you play really well, everyone lets you do your
Whatever
thing.
you want
If you
to do,
don't do very well,
That's
everyone
when
brings
you
it
get-
up and goes,
yeah.
you're speaking too much, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about,
It's the case,
don't worry
yeah.
about your own agencies. You've now obviously proven yourself to be an incredible leader and an incredible player. I just wondered, from a point of view now, it feels like you are sort of unintentionally, not going away, but fighting that good fight to set an example for people, to show that you can have character, you can be like that. Is that right? Is that right? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think it's becoming more apparent, especially as I've become a dad over the past few years. When I speak to kids now and see them at the games and that, I actually, it sounds a bit mental, but you listen. Do you know what I mean? Like before, you know what I'm trying to say? You'd sign the top, but I actually listen to what they say now. For example, if they say, "You're my favourite player," I think, fucking hell. If my boy said that to someone and they just didn't give them the time of day, I'd feel a certain way about that. So
I completely agree with that.
yeah, so yesterday, for example, there's a scheme in Bristol called STAR, and the kids from underprivileged backgrounds, and they brought them to the game, went out and done like an alignment meeting on the pitch, which is leaders, another word for leadership, I guess. As we finished, I was walking in and I seen an old neighbour of mine from Andover Road in Knoll West. He lived across the road from me, his name's Martin, and he said, "You won't remember me, but I lived opposite you." And I said, "No, my old man used to speak about Martin from over the road, number 33. He lived opposite us anyway." There were a group of kids all in tracksuits, and as I was walking in, someone said, "Have a picture," and everyone went, "No, I ain't having a picture with him, he's massive." And I thought, fuck, do you want a photo, boys? And then two of them come over and they said, "You lived on Andover Road?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "Where do you live?" He said, "Andover Road." And I thought, fucking hell, there's a kid right in front of me now coming to a rugby game, which I never did when I was younger, really, until I was a bit older and got into Bristol's academy. And he's there and he's in a tracksuit and he obviously feels quite uncomfortable. So I took a bit of time out, spoke to him, tried to make him feel at ease. Don't know if it worked. And then there was a few of them who didn't want a photo. And I almost see myself in them, you know, like, "Do you want a photo?" No, fucking, he was a bit standoffish. So that hit me before the game and I thought, fuck me, I've actually got an opportunity to make an impact on these kids today. So when I played, I was quite conscious of that.
Yeah.
And then after the game, when you go around, you make an effort and you spend a bit more time. And I've sort of gone a bit long-winded there.
No,
but
that's perfect.
It's almost a purpose for me. So having children myself, I think sort of, I used to speak about it and it was more so from a selfish point of view. I feel exploited. I feel excluded. Whereas actually what I channel it into now is there's loads of other kids out there feel the same way as I do. How can I use my platform to impact these kids for the betterment of rugby in my eyes?
I'll come to you, Jonny, but do you feel like that as well with the England team? Because every player we've had come in here, we always ask them, what's England camp like? What's amazing? Who are the key people? And you're the first name that comes out all the time. They always say, Ellis has been brilliant. Ellis is great. Ellis is setting his emotional tone. He's greeted the young players. He's been really good. It sort of almost feels like you've done that as an extension with these other players as well to make sure everyone's welcome. Is that kind of right?
I think I'm naturally like that anyway. I've done a bit of work with a psychologist called David Priest, who we bring into camp. Johnny's a big fan of his. He's really good. Very different, but I've had a few sessions where I'm not a repeat user of psychologists. I just go when I feel I need answering for a few questions. And he said that naturally he sees it when I'm around camp and stuff. I'll put my hand on someone and say how they are. I won't just say, "How are you?" I just put my hand on them. I'm very personable with people, which I didn't ever really think I was, but I've been like that for my whole life. And then I guess sort of having that in the back of my head when I'm in a room, can benefit a team. So maybe that's why you hear that.
But did you feel, so when you first came in the England team, how were you greeted? How did you feel that you were greeted?
It was different. I think rugby's changed a lot since 2016 when we first met. I think you were just sort of squeezing out the last bit of the old school, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. I loved all that. But I do see, and like we spoke about earlier with Gen Z now, I do see how that could be intimidating for them, because it's different. Academies are different. Everything's different at rugby now. So for me, I probably did feel a bit like, fuck me, what's going on? But that was more so because I'd come from, if you remember, loan at Plymouth for 3 weeks, back to the champ, left the champ, went to the Prem, debuted for England 3 months. It was a whirlwind for me. Yeah. So I was probably thinking, fuck me, find your feet and keep your head down. Whereas I see players coming now who are 18, 19, Emmanuel favourite. Did you meet Manny?
I met him when I popped in the change room.
What a lovely bloke, but extremely confident, laughing and joking, always around the boys. Whereas I'd say previously you would have seen the young boys, myself, in their rooms at camp, wouldn't fucking come out, wouldn't say boots with goose. Whereas now they're round the coffee machine, playing pool, they're a voice, they're on the WhatsApp group, they're active. So,
but I think as well that's got a lot to do with the way the senior players welcome them, because you set the tone. That's why I was asking, is because it feels like, because when you came in, I remember we always joke about the first day. I could see you looking at me like going evils, like, you know, I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna have to fight this guy, and I don't even know who he is. But then we ended up sharing a room. We got like house on fire, and as soon as the curtain went down, I saw the real you. And we were laughing and joking all the time. But I can imagine, I forgot that you'd gone to Plymouth and had all that kind of backstory, and that it was kind of quite chaotic. But it seems now that everybody who comes into that camp is welcomed, and the tone is set by the senior players.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Genge said a minute ago. As in, like, it did just you probably just there for the start of the old school. The culture's changed, and I think it probably started with Dylan. Dylan, when he became captain, made a big point of making people feel welcome. We need these guys to get up to speed. We need these guys to feel included. And Genge wouldn't like to say it himself, but he's a complete role model coming from the background that he's had. Sets an example and creates an opportunity for people from all different backgrounds, and all those young lads at Bristol must completely look up to you, and rightly so. And for somebody like Genge to come in from that background and then fit in like he has, and then set an example, it's led the way, along with the effort that senior players have put in, because we want these young guys to come in and be as good as they have been in the Premiership straight away, feel comfortable, feel part of the team. And that has been a big effort over the last few years, led by people like Genge. And I probably experienced that a little bit. Like when I first came into it, like in 2012, I went on tour. The young lads just kept themselves, stayed in their room, stayed out the way of the older boys, you know what I mean? And that was just how it was then, and it wasn't right or wrong. But to get the best out of these kids, you need to get them involved and get them feeling right a part of it from the off, really.
I want to talk a bit about, before we go into more of the England stuff, you obviously Gloucester this weekend. I watched both the highlights of the games, quite contrasting, quite high scores, but on different ends of the spectrum.
Shall I go Gloucester Sarries first?
Yes, you can, yes.
So Gloucester Sarries rundown. Gloucester season, success in Prem Cup, trophy. Really pleased for Lewis Ludlow, captain, unconditional. In the way he gives his whole effort to the club, one of the best captains I've ever played for. So over the moon for him to get a trophy for the club. It's huge for the club. So Prem Cup, huge success. Europe's going well for us. We're in a semi-final at home against Benetton 2 weeks' time. Prem hasn't been great, but that being said, because it hasn't gone great and we have gone well in other competitions, it is now an opportunity for us or Skivs to push some younger players, and that's what happened at the weekend. We sent a younger squad away to Saracens, and yes, the score was 40-odd, 20-odd, but there was actually a lot of positives in there for our young guys. We did make it difficult for them.
Hathaway hat-trick.
Yeah, Josh Hathaway.
Josh Hathaway, not John.
Josh Hathaway.
Josh Hathaway's like an author.
Yeah, no.
John Hathaway.
Josh Hathaway, sharp young player, brilliant. He's only 20. He's got a good future.
Just let you know, if he came into camp, I deliberately called him John.
He has come into camp.
I'd get his name. No, I haven't seen him. I haven't met him. I mean, you've had him in camp. I would just get his name wrong slightly just to put him off and see how long
if he said anything.
Yes, so I did it with Tom Willis. I called him Tim. And it took him 4 weeks, and he came up and said, "You know, my name's Tom." I was like, "No, I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see whether you could do it. You just get it slightly wrong." Josh, doesn't matter, mate. Not interested.
Yeah, so no, the lads actually did to go away and get a bonus point with that young team against a full strength Saracen team. Is actually a positive positive weekend for Gloucester, and we're in it. We got a few things to go after a tough season.
I mean, what's happening with you? What's your update? The Jonny May update?
What I'm doing next season? Or
just anything. Really.
Anything. So
apart from being a fireman, what else is happening?
Update for next season is probably unlikely to be at Gloucester, and that's just one of those things. But I'm fully committed to giving everything I've got for the club for the remaining games, and it's amazing to be in this European competition, and hopefully I get to play in the semi-final in a week's time.
Do you think you will?
I hope so. Yeah,
Fine.
I hope so. Like Skivs has said, he might push some young guys in the Prem. I might not play in the Prem quite so much now, but I would love to play in the semi-final. I played in the quarter-final in the last 16, so and went all right. So hopefully I can be a part of that, and then just see what happens after that. But and the season at Gloucester, like we said, it's been some challenging times in the Prem, but the Prem Cup haven't been a part of. But it's been great to see the lads get the rewards, and the European stuff's been good.
If we're gonna do hypotheticals, like you're gonna hypothetically become a fireman when you finish. Where would you hypothetically like to be playing next season?
I'd imagine it will be overseas, just because I wouldn't really want to go to another Premiership club. I don't think,
unless is there a threshold?
I think I've done 15. I sound ancient now. I think I've done 15 seasons in the Premiership, and like my intentions very much after the World Cup was to stay at Gloucester and do one more season at Gloucester. And I really did want to do that, and that hasn't worked out, and that's nobody's fault. Gloucester's been a great club for me, amazing club. It's my home, and I really did want to stay. It hasn't quite worked out, but that doesn't change how I feel towards the end of the season. And with my little baby, maybe to play abroad for a season or two.
Any particular country, Europe? Think roughly Europe.
Honestly,
Japan?
Anywhere. No, there's nothing concrete for me at the moment. It's like selling a house. You have people who say, "Oh, I may be interested," and they go quiet, and then
they push them for it. Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing concrete for me at the moment. And hopefully something comes up, but I'm fully just focused on the Gloucester stuff till the end of the season. So yeah. Okay.
Well, that's it's so exciting. Watch this space, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you want to do your record breaking.
Yeah. Well, I was going to read a quote,
and all of a sudden Bristol are in. They're going to be top 4 somehow.
Can I tell you something?
You come from nowhere.
There's a quote here from Adam Hathaway in the Times that says, "Ellis Genge."
Josh Hathaway.
Josh Hathaway.
This is Adam Hathaway.
He's had a busy weekend, hasn't he?
John Hathaway scored a hat trick.
And an article.
John Hathaway scored a hat trick. I know his name's Josh. Doesn't matter. Adam Hathaway in the Times. Ellis Genge and Kyle Sinclair, the two props, passed like number 10s, and Genge's sidestepping first half score could have had him banned from the front row union. Adam's a nice sausage.
Adam?
Yeah, I think my producer's written
Is that a joke?
His name's Adam Hathaway. It's a different. You're confused, Johnny. It's two people with Hathaway.
Is it in the article?
Fucking, it's no. Oh God, look. Right. Josh Hathaway scored a hat trick.
Yeah.
He's nothing to do with the article. A hat trick. Dwarf scored the hat trick. Right. He dwarfed the hat trick, and then Adam Hathaway in the Times said Ellis Genge and Carl Sinclair, the two props, passed at number 10s, and Genge's sidestepping first half score could have been banned from the front row union. Basically meaning it's too good. Fat lads can't.
They were having a party at the playground.
Yeah, you said this. Johnny says you have a party at the playground. I thought you went to a playground to have a party.
No, they call their pitch the playground.
Well, I know, I didn't know that. I thought there might be some sort of safeguarding issues going on, but do you want to explain? Well, how did the game go? Because it was incredible. You must be pleased.
Mixed emotions, to be honest.
Not many mixes in all good ones. Like
just a mix of really confident,
joy, happiness, content,
if I'm
over the moon.
No, if I'm being serious, I was actually quite... I don't think that's good for the game. Winning like that.
The Premiership is weird at the moment.
In what is supposed to be a top flight competition. Yeah. I don't think there should be a disparity like that for a team that has got the history that club has.
Yeah.
I know why it's happening.
Of course you know why, because they don't want to pay anyone anything.
Exactly that.
Trying to mitigate.
And there's some really good players and some really good people at that club, some of them good friends of mine. So I remember we scored what would have been like our 9th try, and we were warming up. Kev Geary, don't know why you made me warm up again. Ridiculous. We'd come off and he said, "Stay warm, you might go back on." I was like, "I'm so stiff, please let me sit." But I beat him 2-0 at snooker, so he's upset. Anyway, we were warming up behind the post. We scored what would have been our 9th try, and it was Virimi, I think, scored. No, Kieran Marmion, the scrum half, come on. And me, Sinks and Gabe went in to celebrate, and I seen both the boys pull back, and I thought, actually,
it's like kicking a man when he's down.
You should have seen some of their faces, and I thought, fuck me, it's not a good spot for them. Political, that is. But anyway.
No, I don't
do
think
you know
it's
what I'm trying to say?
I agree with you.
Why would I run in and start? We've scored 9 tries. There's no point in jumping.
No, that's fine.
I think that's
do
being
that.
a bad.
that's fair.
As a player, my dad always bollocked me for numerous things, but mainly was like, you haven't celebrated. Like sometimes when you're focused on a task, it's the next job. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're pumping a team.
It honestly wasn't even about the next job situation. It was more so literally about like, fuck me. I felt.
Yeah.
It's funny because they went all right against Leicester, the last Premiership game, didn't they?
Leicester did get down to 12.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, it was a good day. We won 85-14, record-breaking for Bristol. Biggest ever home win, I think, in the league.
Did you know you only kicked the ball 4 times against Newcastle?
Really?
Yeah, which is that part of the plan? Or just keep the ball in hand because I mean, admittedly, Sinclair got intercepted.
I don't think it's any it's not rabbit at the hat stuff that we don't kick the ball that much in our own half.
No, you just like to run everything.
Well, I was not against it, but I've been coached differently. Been at Leicester, been at used to test rugby, come to Bristol, and Pat likes keeping hold of the ball, and the idea of giving it back to the opposition is why don't we break them down? So I'm enjoying it at the moment. Took a bit of getting used to, but I'm really enjoying it. And obviously, the boys are on fire. So I think it really suits us down to the grounds.
I mean, you looked unbelievable. I know Stinkler got intercepted, but the handling and just the options to go wide, the footwork, the offloads, Ibatoya on the wing, mate, he's unbelievable.
I think he's a serious talent. And for a game like that, he's one of the best players on the planet to actually play in it. I think the game plan we've got, Hathaway, and the game plan that we've got, I think the way we've recruited and the players we've got at the moment suits it down to a T. So it's almost like, why would you ask a monkey to swim?
You were kicking it a bit more at the start of the season.
Yeah, but you got to think now the weather's getting hotter.
Yes,
it's drier.
Yeah,
through the winter months, you probably can't do what we're trying to do now. So,
you're definitely nice.
And I think traditionally you see Bristol, even when I wasn't at the club, under Pat, pick most of their points up towards the end of the season. They, because it's drier, naturally it's easier to catch a ball. So
you've won the last 4 games now. You're heading
4 in the Premier League.
Weren't you like? We've been 9, 8. You were 8th, weren't you? At a point, would have been
8th, but separated by 7 points.
Yeah,
with 4th,
it's misleading, isn't it? But
it's
now
very
you're
misleading. With
only
10 teams.
I mean, you were on fire. Obviously, we debriefed the game. You were brilliant against Ireland. You come back to Bristol. Do you feel that pressure to perform? Because Borthers was there.
Yeah, I've always felt as an international. I know we spend a lot of time away, especially the way the season was structured has changed a bit now. But I've always felt a need to come back. And as an international, we spent a lot away. The boys have, whether they've been struggling or on fire, to come in and give you absolute all. That's why I've always opted to play the first game when you get offered that week off. I say, no, I want to play every single time. Same with summer tours. When I've come back, I don't think we're allowed to do it legally now. But after the summer tour, I don't want to miss that first game of the season. I think where we've got it wrong in rugby sometimes is it's nice that the international players are looked after well and put on a pedestal, but in the same breath, if you look at football, it's the complete opposite, and they're obviously significantly more popular than us. Football as a sport in general, for whatever reason, but one of them I do think is because people get behind the club sport so much in football, whereas sometimes we don't see the product as internationals playing for club. We see it as clubs facilitating for the internationals. Whereas I don't think that dynamic.
That's why the viewing figures don't translate the numbers in the stadium.
Exactly that. So that's why I almost feel an onus to come back and give more. And look, I'm Bristolian. At the bottom line being I am Bristolian. I love, as I said earlier, seeing these young kids in the stand thinking they can be a part of it as well. And it's gave me a new purpose.
Did you feel like, Jonny, when you were playing for England, did you want to come back and play, or you were slightly more precious?
No, like you want to play as well as you can, but and get back to your club, but it's difficult. It is difficult. And Genji's point about the football I take on board, but it is a different game. Like to do an autumn series or a Six Nations, you're not just coming back. You're not just coming back. It's not just run. It's not just meters in your legs, is it? It's banging around as well, and it is difficult. That first game back for your club. I found it difficult.
I found
that first game back. I found very difficult because it was like
it's the emotional come down more than anything. I'm aware of that.
You're at a finish line. And then how do you start again?
But imagine, I do agree with you because your point is exactly right.
Both sides of the coin.
Yeah, there is.
I'm almost trying to talk about the betterment of the game as opposed to how I felt as a person. I felt a responsibility that I have.
The betterment of the game is for the big players and the best players to play in every game. Yeah, exactly.
And also, but we've talked about a number of times on here about having because the club game, the international game's growing, club game's shrinking.
Crowing or growing?
growing.
Hathaway.
Yeah.
What's crowing?
I thought
said
I didn't
crowing.
know what you
You
meant.
did say
They're
crowing.
crowing. I think I said growing quite quickly. I might
on the
listen,
slump. I don't know what you
correct
said.
me.
I was just asking what you said.
Oi. Let me
Crowing.
fucking show it is you two.
Yeah.
Right, listen. Crowing. I said Borthwick, halfway.
Yeah.
Wogby.
And what did you say? Adam's a sausage.
No, that's what
I
it
thought
said.
that was in the article.
No. Oh, I know it's confused you.
International games growing.
So I know Ellis calls everyone a sausage.
Not everyone.
Our producer Tom has put Adam's a nice sausage in it
As a joke?
As a joke.
Okay.
But basically just implying that he's a good lad because most rugby writers are sausages, but he obviously is a
He's
good
a good
sausage
one.
because he picked out Ellis and Stinkler.
Yeah, go
both
on
good
anyway.
friends of mine.
International games growing. Have we got data to prove that? What's
Yeah,
the
we
data?
Yes,
do.
it is.
Yeah, viewing figures.
Yeah, viewing figures. Yeah, it's growing.
Money.
But the Premiership's shrinking, and a lot of the time it doesn't translate.
Yeah.
So, for example, when you go and watch World Cup's the third most watched sporting event in the world,
Which is huge.
which
isn't
is
it?
huge, right? But if you go and see anyone, you go, "What club do you support?" I don't really like the club game. I just support England. That's
It's,
why
gonna,
when
it's a bit
England-
like cricket. It's getting that way, isn't it? It's in between football and cricket.
Well, because they've got the one days and they've got the 2020,
And cricket
T20,
also have
and
the IPL.
IPL.
And that's the viewing figures for that.
Yeah,
are crazy.
they get addicted to it, but rugby's missing that connection. So I think you're right. But one thing we've talked about is you need to have more superheroes in rugby for them to get behind, but they also want to be able to see them on show for their clubs.
Which is getting there with the smaller
Yeah.
Premiership, I guess. Is
yeah,
that,
it is. And it's a better tournament, unfortunately, I think, with...
But you need the relegation issue is a thing
Yeah.
because that's less. You can have excitement down the bottom.
That's berserk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
crazy.
my personal view is that I was not massively keen. When I played Super 15, there was no relegation there, which meant you got to play a brand of rugby that might take a couple of seasons to come to fruition. But I didn't mind. But I didn't have a problem with no relegation. But you're shaking your head. People.
I don't know what's right or wrong. I wouldn't know.
You don't know what day of the week it is. You're just thinking about rescuing cats out of
I
trees.
also think what you're talking about is playing in that league where rugby is the #1 sport.
Yes, agreed.
Whereas in our country it's not. So
You need a jeopardy.
You need
Yeah,
something.
fine. I agree. I just
Ambition.
The only problem is the RFE will never let any team come up because you haven't got enough change rooms, seats, tiles, air conditioning
It's
units.
not what it should be about.
No, I don't. Listen, there's plenty of things in rugby that shouldn't be about. We could do a whole show on that. Last question I wanted to ask about Bristol is summer tours coming up. Boys are on fire. Any particular players from Bristol that you think should be involved in England?
I think that we have got a lot of young English players who are playing brilliant rugby, but I also think that there are so many who played so well over the last 12 months that I don't think it necessarily should be picked on immediate form, like just because of the running at the end of the year.
Yeah.
The way we play make people have those opportunities, whereas other clubs play different brands of rugby, and Test rugby is very different to Prem rugby. So if you're juggling all that, I think Ibatoy has been fantastic. Gabe Ogre, obviously the young hooker. Noah Heward.
Harry Randall looked good as well.
Randall,
Yeah.
he's played international before, and I think it's tough for Rands because he's fantastic, and obviously
He's in the hat. His name's in the hat though, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's done the
he's-
England A stuff, and he's always looking sharp.
He does look like a little naughty schoolboy, though. I quite like it.
Have you met Rands?
Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
He's
yeah.
a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
And he's very fun to be around. He's actually done a lot more tours. I think he's done two or
He's
three
been in and
summer
around
tours.
it for a
really?
while,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I've seen him with the guy. I mean,
But
it's-
as a squadman, like going away on a tour, he's brilliant value. So I think that'll probably be taken into
It's
account.
nice to see Max Malin's playing well again.
Malin's playing
he's had a bit of
brilliantly, yeah.
injury and he's sharp. He's a
that
good player,
mega, that mega line he ran off you.
Yeah, it was nice. I
Oh
like
my
that.
god.
I made him.
You did thread that ball through.
Do you know what's nuts?
There was a
is
bit of a hint of I thought maybe like
in the
slightly-
warm up, the way we were running that in the week, Max was running square on, giving away a trick of the trade here, but Max was running square onto the ball, and I said to him, because we were playing out the back, I said, don't come too early. I want them to think we're going to go out the back again, and then I said, last second, I'll just put it in there, then you can hit it. And he said, yeah, no stress. And he runs a serious line.
Mate, it was
he
perfectly
finds
timed
space where space
because you run
isn't,
across them.
Yeah.
They'd all turned in.
Well, that's what I said. I said I'm going to go straight, and then I'll get to the defender that should be tackling you, and then obviously
He's coming from their blind spot.
I
He
did
done the
initially thought
rest,
you maybe
yeah.
put it a little bit forward. I don't know whether it just.
It's just momentum of running, wasn't
Is
it?
I think
Fred-
also because I'm running sideways, obviously, as soon as I pass the ball, I then drop off
Thread
at
it,
the back. So.
I know. I thought it was mega. I mean, that was a mega line for him.
Come on, mate.
Sorry, I just.
He wants to cancel it. He wants to cancel the try. He
does,
No,
Yeah.
we'll
Pass,
cancel
you
try.
do.
Will that try that you scored be on your show reel? Will that
Yeah.
be something you're going to put on the wall? Because
Yeah,
that
you're
was.
pleased with that one.
It was all right. Yeah.
I
Well,
loved
come
it.
on,
I
Ollie, not
loved
many
it.
see
I
props
loved
that
it.
go out, break a tackle, take on a fullback, go round him and palm him off.
Well, Rams was giving me a bit of grief the other week saying that I'm a one-trick pony, I can only bump people, and then I stepped him and he said, why didn't you bump?
People never.
Swear you're
pleased.
at it. No one's ever happy.
No one's ever happy. I want to talk to you. I'll start with Ellis on this. Okay, so I don't know if a lot of the rugby public know, but it got announced a little while ago that the England player group, the EPS group, were no longer working with the RPA to negotiate contracts. Now that was unheard of. It didn't sort of escape the radar, but it didn't make the biggest splash I thought it was going to do, because that's a massive shout. Since the dawn of time, the RPA have negotiated the EPS contract with the RFU on behalf of the players, salaries, breaks, image rights, sponsorship stuff. In conjunction with that, there's obviously been muted these hybrid contracts. Now, there was an article done the other day, basically in the Daily Mail, so again, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, but essentially they said that these contracts are non-existent at the moment, nothing's moved forward, negotiations are broken down, and basically what it says that the RFU are meant to be offering hybrid club country contracts to 25 players. These will see those players receive an additional 150k on top of their club wage. In theory, this should give Steve more control over those 25 players to manage their workloads and everything else. Obviously, Maro Itoje and Jamie George have been offered these contracts, but that's where we've got to, but there's been nothing else about it. And the Daily Mail article insinuated that nothing's happening, it's all stalled, the wheels have fallen off. Can you give us an insight as to what's happening? Because it seems to be like it's a big issue bubbling away.
I'll give you as much of an insight as I can without, firstly, I think business is business. I think you should keep that in the four walls, which obviously hasn't been done previously to this. But there's discussions going on. I think as we just spoke about, the international game being where it's at, I think if we really want to optimise performance in that sense, if you look at the Ireland's model and people like that, it seems to work, and New Zealand as well. So I think that's been sort of spitballed around for a few years, probably in your playing time as well. If you go back onto the commercial subject, I think that if you look at the numbers, I'm not going to chuck anyone under the bus here, but if you look at the numbers for the RFU in general, they're like that. Whereas the commercial value of the players, and this goes back to making players idols, like you said,
making them stars.
Exactly that. It goes back to that, as opposed to them playing for England, making it a case of Jonny May being the talent. And I think the players' commercial value has been like that probably since 2012, 2011, do you know what I mean? Before the big social media surge of Instagram and stuff like that. So I think we wanted onus on how we control our commercial value, as opposed to it be, like you said, always been the same since, 2000, since the beginning of time. We wanted a bit more control over that, and that was one of the main pushes. But in the same sense, we want to better the game. We want to have control and answer to ourselves, essentially, of how we push the game forward, not have to jump through all these loopholes in here that that's not gonna slide. And it's all right, mate. Yeah, that's essentially it. I think there's no smoke without fire. I'd probably think that we thought it was going to be a lot smoother than.
When you say we, who's the we? What's it known as?
The whole of the England team. So
it's
also on that 25 thing, I think it's a maximum of 25.
Right.
I don't think it has to be 25. No. And I honestly know as much as the tabloids do to a certain degree. We were obviously involved in the conversations, but because we were in a World Cup, we then did a Six Nations, we wanted to perform. We haven't actually had much time to speak, and obviously I prefer, I don't know about you, but I like doing it in the flesh.
Yes.
So obviously people's schedules have to line up, and you have to go and meet, and etc.
So basically, to break it down in layman terms, you have fired the RPA as your negotiators.
We've changed hands.
We've changed hands, and you as a player group run by a number of players with, I imagine, professional help.
5 players as directors. And
5 players as directors. Okay, and are they directors that will continuously change as you move on? Or I think
we did a survey, and we had a vote from the last
They
squad.
got voted in to be
directors.
It was
a vote, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right,
they got voted in, but I'd imagine they would have to change every so often.
Fine. So you basically started a union, essentially.
Yes.
We have started a union.
So a union, and you are now negotiating.
But the company, the commercial company, we are directors.
Commercial company, you're director of a commercial company, but it's a union, for example, or like a voice or whatever you call it.
That.
And you're now negotiating directly with the RFU.
Yeah.
First of all, how's that being received, the RFU? Because they would hate this with a capital H.
Well, it's been good. I think both parties want it to work.
Fine.
Because obviously that's a good relationship. You don't want it to be a conflict between the two. But there actually hasn't been much opportunity to negotiate for what I've just said in terms of scheduling and stuff like that. So that's why I said we probably thought it was going to be a lot quicker, but in the real world, in the business world, it's tough to make everyone's schedules line up. We're playing each week. You got to focus on the club competition and stuff like that. So it's been a challenge at the moment, but hopefully we'll push on.
So, but what the Daily Mail's saying true is basically there's been no progress really at the moment.
No, I'd say that's unfair. I think the conversations are definitely happening amongst us from our commercial perspective. But like I said, there's no smoke without fire. I'm sure that someone is speaking to them and telling them X, Y, and Z, and yeah.
And what are the terms of what are your sort of manifesto? You want increased commercial rights, better representation in regards to.
Well, I think players were being not sold off, but we are the commercial product, so to speak. We are not the brand, but we are the people that people come to watch play. So I think we wanted clarity over what was happening with the commercial, the use of our commercial image and stuff like that. And like you did with Dylan in, what year was that, 2018 or 2016?
2015, 2016.
But it was implemented in that 2016, yeah. So similar to that, but we want complete control over it.
It's amazing actually, because
everyone obviously thinks they just want more money. They're the best paid union in the world. It's not that. It goes a lot deeper than that.
To be honest, I think it is probably quite a mess. I think maybe Genge doesn't want to say that, but it is a mess. There's new contracts that need sorting. There's players who have been out of contract. Is there a hybrid contract? Is there not? If there is a hybrid contract, how many players are there on the hybrid contracts? If there's hybrid contracts, there's talk of the RFU doing their S&C and medical. But how do you enforce that? Because the clubs pay them. I don't see how that works. How much are they going to be paid? When's it going to start? And it's pretty grey, and it seems like there's a lot to work out. And when by, like, there's players who maybe would have liked to have made a decision this season as to whether they stayed in England or not. And knowing if they're on a contract or not would have been useful to know to help shape their decision. So there's a lot to work out. So I can't see it being ready anytime soon.
The RFU have said here, just a quote, just to cover it off, said RFU saying everything is in good shape and we'll see some progress on July the 1st when new professional game partnerships, PGP, kicks in.
I think they're taking over in May, aren't they?
Yeah, so that is coming to an end, and that's essentially what's being renegotiated. So that's why that is taking some time, because you obviously have to wait for a contract
got
to end.
Hand it over to these new people, and I guess that's probably why it isn't. This needed to be in their hands 6 months ago, and it isn't. So there is going to be some teething issues with the transfer, and that's why
there isn't any form of business.
But what's difficult is for players to know what they want to do with their future when they don't know what the future is, and that's
not pretty. Yeah, of course it's not. But I don't think rugby's been pretty for a few years in that respect.
No, it's like the Wild West rugby a lot of the time.
At the moment, yeah.
You saw with COVID, Wild West, lads getting taken into offices saying you will sign this contract, otherwise we're going to fire you, or we won't sign you another year. And it's like, what other world could you get away with it? Sport is kind of is like that. Just to ask you both a question. I'll start with you, Ellis. Are you keen on these hybrid contracts? Do you think it makes sense? Would you want to be centrally contracted? Do you like it? Do you don't care? Tell me how you feel.
I don't know until we get the intricacies of the contract sorted. So I'm reasonably impartial. I want the game to grow. If this is what's going to make the game grow, then brilliant. Because I think rugby's either going to skyrocket and be extremely popular and be fantastic and take off, or I think it's actually going to dwindle a bit. And
we'll be opening gyms and we'll be all firemen.
Well, that's that. Yeah. So I'd rather see I don't want to see the latter. I don't want to see rugby on its ass. I think we've got a great opportunity with a great crop of young players coming through to really take control of it. And that if that is in the hands of a hybrid contract, then yeah, I'm all for it.
What about you? I know you're out of it, but what would you think?
Now that what I want for the boys is I want them looked after physically. I want them to be paid well. I want the game to grow, but I don't know how. I can't see how it works. I don't see how a hybrid deal works, because I don't see how it's possible for the RFU to say they're doing medical and S&C at your clubs when they're on a hybrid contract. For instance, let's say Genji's touring New Zealand in the summer. Yeah, Genge bangs his shoulder and he's got a final against Northampton at Twickenham. The RFU come in and say, well, we don't want Genge playing in that final. Well, the club are going to play him in that final. So that I don't know how you work through these issues, and it's very, very grey. But it's a good job I'm not sorting it out, because I don't know how to sort it out. But there's a bit of a problem, and there needs to be a bit of a solution. But yeah, players played well, looked after, grow the game, and navigate your way through these murky waters.
And while I've got you on can I just put you on the spot? You don't have to necessarily answer me, but I'll start with you, Jonny. Would you change this rule so players playing abroad can play for England if you had a chance?
At the moment, yes, because there's opportunities for people to develop and earn more money abroad, experience different things. So yeah, I think that they should be allowed. Yeah. What
about you? Because you're losing your mate Stinkler, who, by the way, has got a great back tattoo. For a man who was always concerned about his back looking small, he's now got his whole back tattooed. It was some incoherent bollocks on Instagram that made no sense, only to that survivor world thing that he talks about. It's like riddles. But I mean, he's going abroad. He's signed for Toulon. Would you change the rules so he could play? How would you feel about it?
For me, similar to what Jonny said, I think when the Premiership was this great league and we had all the best overseas players coming in. When you played at Wasps, you had Charles Piutau,
George Smith,
you had some of the best players literally to grace the shirt, playing in the Premiership. And I come through Marcus Ayertse, so I learned off him in the Premiership. The young players don't have that now coming through. They don't have these mental players who are literally the goats in our sport playing at Premiership clubs. So for me, when 3 clubs have gone under and the product isn't as good, I actually think it's a slight contradiction saying that we want to keep the best players here where the league isn't as good as the other league. So surely you'd want them to develop in... It's tough, isn't it? Because I can see both sides of the coin, but for me right now, like Jonny said, in the state of where the league's at, I think we would benefit from opening that, broadening our horizons and letting people play elsewhere. But then obviously there's a disparity of saying, are people just going to take the highest bidder, or are they going to actually go somewhere where they're going to play the best rugby?
I think actually in rugby you learn pretty quickly that if you go for the money only, it doesn't matter how much money you're being paid. If you're losing and it's shit, you'll come home pretty quickly. I think people talk about this exodus. I don't think it would happen. I think it all levels it out. There isn't that much money in the world.
You think about. They say we want the young players to learn off the best players who want to play them. But if some of the senior players, because like you said, it wouldn't be an exodus. Not everyone would go. I want to play for Bristol. I want to play for Bristol. But you look at the youngsters that have the opportunity to come through. Sometimes they're not given the opportunity because you have to play your England players. You have to play internationals to a certain degree. And it almost stops the talent coming through. Whereas if you actually let the very senior players, you know what they can do, go away and apply their trade elsewhere, whilst getting played well, but ultimately not having the the flexibility to come back to England as and when you please, I guess, is the issue. And I get that. But then the youngsters would then come through and push those players, as opposed to it. And you've experienced it when it's just the same old guard, just guaranteed. You know, like a. I'd like to see challenge. I'd like to see the youngsters come through.
If Steve had 25th century contracted players, it should be between him and the player. They could be like, right, this is actually Henry Arundel playing at Racing is actually brilliant for you right now. You get to play abroad, big stadium, amazing players. This is going to make you a better international player. Do that. He's got 25, like the New Zealand. They've got Geordie Barrett going to Leinster. They've got.
Geordie Barrett would normally, I think, would have come to the Premiership or maybe a
in the past, maybe
in the past.
Not now. Then he's got Bowden Barrett playing in Japan. That's perfect for his body. Like so there's a case by case.
That's what Johnny's at now on the head there. It is a case by case example.
I think as well in the modern game, it wouldn't be hard for Borthers to go. Henry Arundel will stay a central contract. You go and play at Racing. Stuart Lancaster's coach at Racing.
Exactly.
You understand how it works. We need him for these windows. We understand you're paying him a fortune. We're topping him up. For fuck's sake, it's one game a season. But can we make it work?
People forget as well that Henry's club went bust the last game of the season.
And then 2 other clubs did. So it's actually the clubs that would have probably been able to pick him up.
Yeah.
Like everybody in England sorted.
Everyone. And the cap came down by 2 mil. Yeah. When he signed that contract, it was higher. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
all that stuff.
I think, as far as I'm concerned, I would change the rule and I wouldn't have any cap limit on it. And I'd let people go off and explore. I don't think it's friendly. I think it's the best journey of my life. I think it's an amazing experience to go off and be able to have that. And I think Borthers having that choice, I think would only help the game. Right, we've got the Continental Tyres Quiz, lads. It's a very exciting segment. We haven't done it before. We always have a Continental Tyres question, but we've got a quiz because we're all big fans of Eddie Jones. So I thought I'd quiz you on some famous quotes about England players from Eddie. It's our Continental Tyres Quiz. You have to guess the player that the quote is about. So if you shout it out, get it wrong, the other player gets the next turn.
So what's my buzzword? I'll click my fingers and what are you going to do? Yeah, he'll make a raspberry.
I mean, we didn't need buzzwords. You've invented a new section to the game. I love these guys. See, Tins and Alex, I mean, I think this is better. I mean, I'd love the viewers to write in and go, do you like this kind of younger format? Do you prefer us? Because Alex makes up games that nobody can understand, that only he understands, that peter out halfway through. And Tins is always on the phone or either asleep or day
Alex
snoring.
is like an MP. He just reads off his script, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He doesn't think for himself. No, Alex is very, very good. But he does make up really complicated games that no one understands or likes to play. So the first quote is, somebody, that's the Gap.
Yeah, the Gap.
Is like a Vauxhall Viva, mate, and we want to make him into a BMW. Any guesses, lads? I'm going to have to push you, Johnny.
It's a forward.
Yeah,
Half a
I'll
point.
give you that. I'll give you a forward.
Half point.
Well, I don't know. Tom can score. I don't think we do half point. Stop inventing rules to the game.
Sorry,
You're like
mate.
fucking Alex.
Can you just give us
A clue?
Yeah.
Well, he's a forward.
No, but like era.
Era, similar to our era. 2016 made his debut.
Tamon Harrison.
No, that's you. He's a big noise. Global.
Marrow.
Yeah. Maro Toji is like a Vauxhall Viva, mate, and we want to make him into a BMW.
Nothing about Marrow that's like a Vauxhall. He's a pearl.
No, when he first
He's
came
a
in.
black pearl.
No, because that's what people don't know about Maro. Remember, he came in, he wasn't very good at fitness, he couldn't really pass. Do you not remember this?
I remember he's always been athletic.
Yes, but
I don't remember him being bad at fitness.
No, but he was. Yeah, we did the World Cup camp in 2015.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
I wasn't with the full.
No,
but
but he was
you
blowing
would have
out his
seen
arse,
it.
and his pass he wasn't
I
great.
can
He's
imagine
obviously-
any one of them blowing out their ass
Yeah.
in 2015 if they just come in from under 20s to fucking.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not saying it's a
World
bad
Cup,
thing.
yeah.
That's why it was a Vauxhall
Sorry,
Viva.
yeah, we're
Alright.
criticising you, but it's actually the quote that we're.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eddie's
yeah.
a little bit off.
And basically, bear in mind, Maro, when he made his debut, was he 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 20, and basically he was saying, everyone was saying that he was the best thing since sliced bread, and Eddie said he
had
was a
to
Vauxhall
ground him.
Viva,
Yeah, had to
ground him, and
ground
he's a
him.
BMW, and he has turned into a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ironically, well, not ironically, but he has. Right, okay. Next quote. It might be the long hair and the beard. Somebody is like Samson. He gets better with longer hair.
Oh, this quiz isn't doing too well, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Jesus,
another
I'm not
awful-
good at quizzes.
Would you just get? I mean, this player in particular, old school, my era.
Tom Wood.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, this one. Mate, he looks like a butcher, don't you reckon? When you go down to your local butcher shops, you can see behind there. He looks like a butcher, don't you reckon?
Yeah, we hear you.
I just make sure you repeat it. It's what they do on normal quiz shows.
I'm trying to think, and you're saying the
Dunn.
same
Oh,
thing.
right. Do you remember Bob Mulcahy?
Tom Dunn.
No, not Tom Dunn. This is... They called him
Again-
the butcher from Rotorua.
Tamana.
No.
Dylan.
Yeah, well,
Dylan Hartley.
Yeah, but-
It doesn't matter though.
That's
'cause
fine,
he-
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it.
all right, yeah, but he's only had one guess.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Didn't listen to the rules. That's
Shall
why I
I-
repeat
when I-
everything
Yeah,
three
yeah.
times, you doofus.
When I say something, then do I have to wait for Johnny to go?
Yeah, I did.
Let's just try and get them. We've
his
got all three at the moment.
His brain's like, it's like a little fish in custard.
2-1.
Fishing cast.
Who did Eddie say this to? If you're tired, off. I don't want tired players here.
Me. Or Yardy. Both of us.
Marley Yard.
Yeah.
Did he say to you?
Yeah.
Did he?
So we had to. You used to have to do this thing, our wellness. So you'd have like scores. How sore are you? How tired are you?
He's
Etc. Etc.
said that to everyone, I think.
Yeah, and like, basically, I filled out my form. It was like one of my first weeks doing it, and I was like, do you know what? I'm a bit tired and a bit sore today, so I put maybe like 2 out of 5. About 8 o'clock in the evening, get a message from Charlotte. You've been summoned. Go and see Eddie in the power room in the morning. So I go and see Eddie in the power room. He's like, oh, you're a bit sore and a bit tired, are you, mate? And I was like, oh yeah. To be fair, it was a tough game at the weekend, mate. Yeah, feeling a bit stiff and sore. He's like, I'm going to make myself clear, mate. Tired and sore people don't play for England. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm understood. And then obviously you just put 5, 5, 5, 5. And then he's funny, Eddie. On a Thursday, be like, boys, your wellness is brilliant.
Yeah.
You've recovered fantastically, and you're going to be hitting the track running at the weekend. But obviously we've all been told
Yeah,
we're
all
not
lied.
allowed to score 2. So yeah, we're all 5s, Eddie.
Borthers, though, from what we talked about the other day, I think he would want you to be honest, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said my legs are falling off. He wanted to know. Okay. He chucked somebody a bag of sweets and said,
Lenny.
yes, you guessed it straight away. Ben Youngs. Basically, the quote was, he chucked Ben Youngs a bag of sweets. Do you want them? Ben Youngs said no, and he said, mate, that's a great start. Work with the S&C strength and conditioning staff, lose some weight, and you'll be playing. It's true. This player wears number 7, but he's a 6.5 at best.
Chris Robshaw.
Well
Well
done,
done.
Ellis. Right. They're like kamikaze kids, those two. They hit everything that moves.
Curry and Underhill.
Yes, Johnny. I hope you've got long fingernails because you're only just clinging on.
James Haskell.
Yes, well done. On making sure that this player was fit for the World Cup. We'll look after him like he's the king's baby. We'll look after him like he's the king's
Faz?
baby. No. player that was probably
Anthony?
No.
You can't do another one.
You can't.
yeah, I
No,
can't.
he doesn't get the rules. It's by a fireman. Don't climb into that. Oh, you've burnt the world down.
Forward or a back?
It's a forward.
Courtney Laws.
No.
Oh, who is it then? Go on.
Billy Vanapola.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, he's a tough rooster, a warrior. He puts his
He
body
doesn't
on the
get
line.
a point for that.
No, he
No,
doesn't
I
get a
haven't
point.
got a
He doesn't.
point.
No, he's not a slip, but I told him the answer. He's a tough rooster, a warrior. He puts his body on the line. He doesn't play in a dinner suit. He's a tough rooster, a warrior.
Faz?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done. That's it. That's it. Well,
I've romped
that
that.
was a great quiz. Jonny May, 6-3. Jonny May, round of applause. Well done. I thought you weren't good at quizzes.
Well, we got there.
We've got there in the end. You boys have obviously both been in England camp together. We've talked about your importance role. We've talked about your views, or both of you kind of being introduced and what your experience is like. But what, Jonny, are your lasting memories of Ellis when you played with him?
Yeah, to play with Genge at England and at Leicester, like this guy carries the ball. It's insane, but it's beautiful to watch. It gets me excited. I want to take the field with him. And then what a great bloke he is on and off the pitch. And like he said, he wouldn't want to say it himself, but he's a role model to all these young little Bristolians. Do their voice. What do they say?
You're right. Don't worry about it. Said it's Genge over there.
Yeah,
It's
there you
easy.
go.
I absolutely love him.
Those little
He
babbers.
used to live. Do you know the number 33 opposite the ring?
Yeah,
My
exactly.
dad used to come around and see you. Don't worry about that.
He's their knight in shining armour.
Yeah, he
and
is,
what,
yeah.
what a bloke.
The working class hero. You're a bit like Robin Hood. Robbing the rich to pay the poor, except you forgot to give the money to the poor. It's in escrow at the moment.
It's in the gym.
It's in
Sion.
It's in the gym. Sion, yeah. What about your memories?
With John,
Well, just of England. I mean, at the moment, like, because you're sort of post-Faz era. You're in the mix. You're leading. Are you loving it? Is it fun? What kind of environment are you trying to create?
yeah, I'm loving it. I am. I think since a lot of my good friends, I've been lucky enough to play with some of the best players to ever play in an England shirt. And I think something that I've learned, especially from John, Courtney, Ben Youngs, the boys who've given it up, seeing how much is taken out of them emotionally whilst they're playing, and then when they say they're done and they know they've left the shirt in a better place, they sort of not relief, but almost gratification. They're happy that they've done it. So I think for me, and Courtney said it to me, I roomed with him at the World Cup in 23. Every single time he'd be like, mate, like, just make the most of it. Make the most of it, because it does go a lot quicker than you think. And that's a bloke who played over 100 times for his country and is one of the best players to ever play. So for him to say that, it really hit home. And Jonny, it's slightly different to myself. He obviously stretched a lot. I've never stretched in my life. So it was a different sort of timetable. But when I would interact with John, we had some good laughs. And every time I'd ever go over the top of someone in the game, John would run up, jump into me and quack.
And scrum penalties as well. I just run.
Quack.
He would run in
call-
from
yeah.
a wing and jump into me and quack.
Like a duck. That's what I was like. He's going to quack some. Like that's the noise it made. Wah, when he sits people
Honestly,
down.
we're in the middle of a test match in Australia. I went over the 13, I think it was Karevi or 12, and he
scrum.
ran up to me and
Yeah.
went quack and jumped into me, and I thought,
Jump every scrum penalty when he's like dazed. He's probably bloodshot. I'm running in from my wing. I boffed him one, but he loved
You
it.
boffed him and quacked.
Mate,
Yeah,
honestly,
it's
boffing
great.
and quacking.
he sends
Yeah.
me sideways a few meters. He runs it. He done old
yeah,
back,
yeah.
which I quite respect.
Yeah.
That's
Love
just
it.
what you need, isn't it? Just as the blood's rushing back to your head.
Yeah.
Boffed and quacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, potential back spasm.
Potential back spasm, potential
Yeah.
injury. Right. And that's what you feel like the markings there, boffing and quacking.
I love honestly. I love front row. Like I love
Really?
like, the relationship. It's very different worlds. I'm on the edge of the pitch. They're in the tip of
and
the
the cold
scrum.
face.
Yeah.
The tip of the spear and you're the
But
handle.
when they get a scrum penalty, I go ballistic. I remember I smacked Joe Marler around the face when he won us a penalty away at South Africa. I'd love to get that clip up. It's brilliant. But no,
And how did he react to that?
again, they actually can't really do much after a scrum.
No.
Because they're still coming back to our realm. I don't know where they've gone.
Yeah, it's a scrum
so you
realm.
can
It's just full of like sweat and
yeah,
gooch.
You can get away with doing anything to them after a scrum.
So you've noticed that down
I
in your
can
little
run
diary
and do
book.
whatever I
It's
want,
when
get
you're
back to my
safe.
wing, and I'm safe.
I love that you've thought about that.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I'm not turning my back on you. Well, listen, lads, I really appreciate you coming down. Thank you so much. Good luck, Ellis, for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Hopefully.
What about John?
Yeah, I'm still
Well,
playing.
I haven't finished yet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you interrupted me.
But you weren't gonna say
I
it.
was going to say that. I was going to definitely 100% say. Good luck for the rest of the season. I hope you go well. Jonny, good luck.
Yeah.
I hope you get your opportunity in the European,
European
semi.
trophy would be great, wouldn't it?
Good
Are you
luck
in
with your
Europe still.
No.
So Premiership for Bristol and a European trophy for Gloucester, that would be quite good for the South West. Points West would be
On fire.
on fire.
And
That'll
then you
get the
put the
hits
fire
up on
out.
Point West.
Yeah, I love that. I
And
love
John
that.
will put
Number
the fire out.
33, don't go around there, eh? Couple of fit birds. Don't park your nice car, tyres will go.
He's like 80 odd, mate.
Sorry. Just don't let the story get away. Truly get away. Good story. Jonny, good luck with the contract negotiation.
Thank you.
Will you come back on the show again?
Yeah, of course I am.
Ellis, will you come back? Maybe we can beam you in from New Zealand. Fingers crossed you get there. You fit?
Yeah.
Perfect. You might have seen the moving story of Ellis Joseph, a 26-year-old rugby player from Bristol. Ellis went to A&E in February thinking he had glandular fever, but was shocked to be diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, an aggressive form of blood cancer. Ellis is still in need of a stem cell transplant and needs a stem cell donor. You know a little bit about this story, Ellis, don't you?
Yeah, it's weird. He's at my boyhood club. He's also mixed race. His name's Ellis. He plays in the front row, so we had a lot in common.
Wow.
But yeah, unfortunately, he's ill. He's looking for donors between the ages. I think it's between the age of 26 and 30 for a stem cell donor. So yeah, he's in a bad spot at the moment, and the club's really got behind him. Old Reds have been absolutely brilliant, and Bristol Rugby as well have been class. Got the whole city behind it. Everyone putting it up on socials, and yeah, God bless him. Hopefully, we can find a donor soon.
So it said Ellis's family and friends have started the campaign #TryForEllis to encourage the rugby community to get on board and sign up to the stem cell register, giving everyone with blood cancer or a blood disorder the same chance to find a life-saving match. Anthony Nolan really needs more young men to squad up, sign up and potentially save lives by joining the register at www.anthonynolan.org/tryforellis. That's www.anthonynolan.org/tryforellis. And finally, lads, before we say goodbye, well done to my old club, Maidenhead, whose under-13s won both the Cup and the Shield of the Berkshire County, which is unbelievable. Maiden has actually adopted Will Greenwood as their number one player, even though he never played there, never went there. But I'm the real person, so just
What are you going to do about that?
What am I going to do? I'm going to run Will Greenwood over in the car park when he's not looking.
Yeah, good.
I'm going to attack him and just fill him in, turn him upside down and shake him and see what comes out. No, I wouldn't do that. Will Greenwood's a lovely man, fantastic player, much nicer and more personable than I am, and he bloody loves Maidenhead. I love Maidenhead, but he loves it more, apparently, according to Maidenhead. Will, watch your back. Anyway, we've been the good, the bad rugby with our friends at Continental Tyres. Stats and facts provided by Oval Insights. We're a Folding Pocket production, and this episode was produced by Tom Edwards. Please share, please subscribe, buy Black Eye Gin. We love you, lads.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.